Mars is in its home sign of Aries. It jumped over on the 9th of April, and I'm wondering, are you feeling the heat? I sure have. It's been a massive vibe shift, and I'm so glad that Mars finally got out of Pisces. Mars is, of course, about our energy, our drive, our passion, what just gets us going in the morning when we first get out of bed. Now, when I was in Pisces, our energy, it all got like dissolved and it got like very draining. We all felt like, yeah, it was more difficult to really direct our energy. Well, now that is not going to be a problem anymore, you guys, because Mars, of course, belongs into the sign of Aries. So on the 9th of April, it got home in the first cardinal fire sign. It is very amazing to finally be able to have some more energy. I like personally as an Aries, I felt such a surge as soon as it shifted over, and I was like, thank God for this, because I think we can all agree upon the fact that we can use so much more like fire within our lives right now. It was difficult in Pisces, and now in Aries, it is like a very, very big vibe shift, and I'm very, very excited to be doing this video today, as I've got a lot of things to share with you guys, and of course, Mars will conjunct Neptune, Saturn, and Mercury will get into the mix. Then we're going to see a new moon in the sign of Aries as well. That will happen on the 17th. And that will be the first new moon of the new astrological year of one. So buckle up, you guys. We're going to have a very big moment of acceleration. But first, we need to get through another kind of tricky aspect. Whenever it conjuncts Neptune, it will do that now in the next couple of days. The energy is already palpable. The exact conjunction happens on the 13th, but the energy will be lingering a little bit. And Neptune, of course, can still be a bit confusing, and we are going to see some troubles with that. And of course, I'm going to be talking a whole lot more about that in this video. So if you're new here, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you're already part of this beautiful community, then I'm so happy to see you back. And of course, also, yeah, there's just so much that I want to share, and I feel like pumping, like Mars, it is about our energy, and Aries rules over the head, but it also rules over things being red, like our arteries, our blood. So do you feel your blood pumping? If that is the case, then you're definitely tapping into the energy for sure. And let's just go over how we can use it in a more beneficial kind of way. Because, of course, there is a lot of, I see a lot of people really pointing towards the more lower manifestations, and I will be talking a bit about that as well, of course, but I really want to like motivate you and also show like the higher manifestations, because it's really about also defending the things that you love. And Neptune can also be about the underdog, so really standing up for the underdog. It can also be about taking passionate action on your vision, Neptune. So it all depends on your own personality, of course. And if Mars conjunct Neptune makes trines or adverse aspects in your charts, like squares, that is also going to give you a lot of like notion about how this energy is right now affecting you. So it really pays to know your own chart. So yeah, let's dive into the presentation for today. Of course, Mars already is in Aries. It jumped in on the 9th, and it will stay there until the 18th of May. That day, it will jump over into the sign of Taurus. Now, along its 5-week period here, it is going to do some pretty interesting stuff, you guys. First, it will meet up with Neptune. Then it will meet up with Saturn. That is going to be a bit more difficult, as we can all feel like we are hitting a roadblock. And also, if you're going to be tapping into the more lower manifestations of Mars conjunct Neptune, then whenever it conjuncts with Saturn on the 19th, you could have a very big karmic repercussion. So be careful, really tap into yourself, and also look at why you are reacting at certain things. Not every battle needs to be fought. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is just be very, very stoic. And that is also the implication of Mars and Saturn meeting a couple of days later after the conjunction with Neptune. So If you then look at the chart here, so of course Mars, it is very, very raw, it is very direct, it is blunt, it is honest, it is very unfiltered, definitely within its home sign, of course. So it's also about that pure instinct and about like pure action and pure fire. It is like the first spark that can set a lot of things into motion. Now, of course, my biggest advice is to try not to piss people off during this period, because Mars in Aries, yes, if it gets triggered or if it like is being pushed into a corner, then it can definitely set your house on fire. So be a little bit careful. This is like feisty, fiery energy that could get out of hand if you were like not being conscious of your own reactions and your own triggers. And it is, of course, the warrior. So we're all going to feel it. I think a lot of us are already feeling it right now. It is a kind of energy that doesn't wait. It doesn't hesitate. It doesn't overthink. And it doesn't look back. We have been in a looking back period for such a long time with all the planets in Pisces. Well, all of that is over right now. Mars and the sign of Aries, it is not thinking about the past. It wants to assert itself. It wants to push forward, and it is really focused on looking ahead and on looking at the future. It is also a sign that is very easily to like tap into like the present moment. Martian energy, it is like what's happening right now, looking around, having to react or maybe to defend. And really also it is about drawing boundaries. Mars is of course the planet of anger and conflict, but it is actually a very necessary emotion, because how many people like keep silent just for the peace? That is fake. And I'm not saying to go just bluntly shout and call everyone out. No, but anger, it is a very necessary emotion. But anger is probably also always like, it is like a primary emotion. And under that primary emotion, there's mostly sadness about like leaving yourself or not taking enough care for yourself. And when someone constantly crosses your boundaries, then it's like normal that we get mad. But the pure instinct is actually, we need to use it to like recognize it first up, first hand, when someone crosses our boundaries, to not let that linger on. Because if we let it fester, yes, then it can become quite explosive. Now, in our upbringing, we are not being taught very well how to handle anger. It is like unwanted in society. We all need to be polite and diplomatic, and we just need to let people run over ourselves all of the time. No, that is not healthy. And unfortunately, because so many people keep quiet because they are so scared about what other people think about their opinion, now all the pent-up, suppressed anger, feelings, everything that got bottled up is now like gonna pop off. So if you're someone who is used to drawing boundaries, it is like, if you're healthy within navigating your own anger, then this can become such a passionate like moment in time where you're being really able to push through, to assert yourself, to direct your energy in a very positive kind of way. It is like the spiritual warrior archetype that gets massively triggered here with the conjunction to Neptune. Unfortunately, a lot of people are in denial. A lot of people care a lot about what other people think, and like other people's emotions and also opinions tend to have a very big effect on their own well-being. But Aries doesn't care. Aries doesn't take it. Aries is not having anything of it. It's like very passionate, very strong. Mars and Aries, think about like the alpha male archetype here. As an Aries myself, I do not lie awake at night wondering what other people think about my opinion. No. The only opinion I care about is the one of the gods. And I think that is very necessary to grow and to evolve. If we constantly keep ourselves silent just for the sake of keeping harmony and peace, well, then you're not living an authentic life, in my opinion. And you're going to notice it in the people around you right now. People are going to be more outspoken, more unfiltered, more passionate, more driven to really go after the desires. But we need to be careful not to hurt other people while doing so, because we see a very big stellium here in Aries. The opposite sign of the wheel is, of course, Libra, and there's nothing in Libra. Of course, we just had a full moon there. That is really also highlighting a lot of relationships, a lot of breakups that we also saw in friendships, at work, business partnerships, relationships, marriages. I saw some very big announcements online also about people who are splitting up. Well, that is because we have been trying to keep the peace at the cost of ourselves. And when we do that, then things become inflamed. Mars and Aries, they rule about things getting heated up, speeded up. It's about inflammation. It can be about also fevers. If there are certain inflammations being triggered right now, then that is a very big sign that you have been suppressing your anger for way too long. And as an Aries, when I was younger, in my teenage years, I really had to learn to temper it a little bit down, because I am like a first decan sign of Aries. The first, like every decan, every 10 degrees in the sign of Aries also has like another implication. The first one is ruled by Mars, the second one is the Sun, and the third one is Jupiter. So the first decan of Aries, where my Sun falls and where now also a lot of the conjunctions will fall, it is very unfiltered. It is like unaware sometimes about their reactions, about how we sometimes trigger other people with being very honest and very outspoken. And I love honesty. I'm a very big advocate for that. But sometimes being too honest can also create certain difficult situations. And I really had to learn that the hard way, honestly. As soon as Mars then crosses over the 10th degree, then it will be more influenced by the Sun. Then it becomes more aware. When it then crosses over at 20 degrees, then that is like a Jupiter decan. So then Mars will become even like more wise, because first it is raw passion. The first 10 degrees is really about full on, innocent, unaware, unconscious, like fire and passion and emotion and energy. But we need to be careful not to hurt other people while tapping into that energy. Then once it goes over in 10 degrees, it becomes more aware because of the Sun. It creates more consciousness. And then once it crosses over at 20 degrees, then where the Sun is right now, then there is more of a Jupiterian wisdom being implemented within Mars. So we are going to see the three different stages playing out within our personal lives, but also within like on the world stage and like the world theater, the whole clown show. It's going to become quite unbothered, unfiltered, unhinged. So prepare yourself for that. I do not think you need to be some kind of psychic medium to really notice that right now. But the positive thing is that there is a lot of exposure of people who are not being able to channel the sacred anger. It is important. It is necessary. It is a very positive emotion as long as it's being used in the right kind of way. With the conjunction to Neptune that is building right now, that is already palpable in the sky. The exact conjunction to Neptune, the 12th, the 13th, that will be, very palpable already right now. So, of course, what we need to be careful for with the conjunction to Neptune, that is, Neptune, of course, rules over our dreams and our vision and spirituality. And yes, all of that is very beautiful. But the lower manifestations of Neptune are, of course, lies, deceit, fog. And with the conjunction from Mars, there is like misdirected anger. There is being like a lot of fog casted around the warrior archetype. I see people right now projecting their stuff onto other people. It is incredible. And They're blaming other people by the very behavior that they are displaying themselves, maybe even worse. So if you see people right now putting like oil or gasoline on the fire, that tells a lot about these people. And it would be very wise to use your discernment, because those who are pointing fingers right now, they might need to turn their finger towards them. So Neptune can create like a lot of fog, a lot of distortion, a lot of projection, a lot of scapegoating. And yeah, it's very difficult to see the truth, because Neptune like clouds the vision. And on the world stage, we are definitely going to see certain military Aries actions, Mars being taken, that are going to either misfire, misdirect, are going to be miscalculated, or somehow it's not going to be like, yeah, there's something going to go wrong very massively with the conjunction to Neptune. Now, of course, the more positive manifestation of this is that we can really embody the spiritual warrior archetype. You're going to see people really standing up for the underdog. You're going to see people creating a lot of beautiful artistic music, because Neptune is also a very creative planet, of course. So if you're an artist or a performer or a musician, then you can really direct a lot of your fiery energy into creating something very beautifully. Now, of course, Neptune, it is also about the collective unconsciousness. When Mars conjuncts that, there can be an overall feeling of like collective frustration. And that is still lingering, of course, because of the Mars and Pisces transit. Pisces is about the collective unconsciousness. Neptune belongs to Pisces, and Mars just freshly comes out of Pisces, which created this whole war in the Middle East, as we are also seeing. That is going to be kicking up a notch. Unfortunately, Mars in its home sign, it is about war, it is about the military industrial complex, it is about, Neptune is of course about gas and oil and also water. We might also come to terms or be confronted with certain issues within our water, contamination, toxins. Uranus is at 29 degrees. It is also about the toxins that they spray into our sky, and like the heavy metals and all of that. And people might become more easily inflamed to that right now. So I actually have been taking my supplements. They're too far, I will not be able to grab them, but it's like heavy metal detox supplements. It will be very wise to really take that in the next couple of weeks. It just has like a bigger effect on us right now. And I also heard another astrologer talk about that, and I was like, wow, that is like really also the things that I have been doing leading up to this moment. So yeah, it's just sometimes so beautiful when there are some synchronistic messages and other people's videos, and then I'm like, okay, I really need to share that as well. People are going to be very impulsive, trying not to burn any bridges, because Mars, it cuts and severs ties. Once it's like, once the bridge is burned, it doesn't look back, because it's focused on the future. So be really careful not to rub people the wrong way. You're always with two to dance the tango. So it's your own conscious choice right now if you're gonna dance the heated tango together with them, or if you're gonna be like, no, that is not necessary for me, and it's not my battle to fight right now. I think that is gonna be the most wisest decision that you can make right now. And do not let people get under your skin. They're gonna try to, because they're actually frustrated within their own selves. Also, victim mentality is going to be such a big theme here as well. We've got it's like people are still coming out of the Neptune and Pisces spell. And it's like some of them are still not realizing that that's not working anymore. And be very careful what you say. I'm trying to think about my words here as well, to not be too feisty, or also not pointing too much fingers at other people. But actually, I feel pretty good. I feel very motivated. I had a very good last couple of days. A lot of you probably noticed that I took a little bit more time off. I enjoyed the sun. I enjoyed some good friendships. I am so ready for this Mars and Aries. But I see a lot of mad people around me. People are very frustrated, and it's like I intuitively feel like their heart is pumping so fast. And I'm like, chill down, just work out, go to the gym, go to the sauna. Fight it off in the bedroom. That is also going to be a very important remedy for the next couple of weeks. But there are people who are still stuck within the whole Pisces era, fog, confusion, and that is now being strongly highlighted as well with the conjunction to Neptune, of course, of Mars. So yeah, look around, keep your eyes open, be aware of your own triggers, be aware where you feel the need to blame other people. It's actually telling you a lot about yourself, and that can be very handful, or it can be very important to come to terms with that, because if you're not going to succeed at that right now, once Mars is going to conjunct Saturn, then that is going to be very, very tough to deal with. And I want to help you guys navigate that, and I want to keep you guys safe from that. Of course, what else can I tell you? I'm pretty excited, and my ADD brain, it's like all over the place. Wait until Mercury joins the whole Aries party here. It will jump over on the 14th, if I remember correctly, but it's in my slides. So we're just going to have to look at when it jumps over. But we can all feel collectively with all of the Aries energy that there's like urgency or some kind of pressure where we need to take action upon. We can feel like we need to make decisions right now that can't be taken back. Also, once Mercury joins with Mars, we need to be very careful with the spoken word, because whenever we say certain things, it will not be able to take that back anymore. And the last couple of months, we have seen a lot of Mercury-Mars conjunctions. And that is actually rare. It is like a spotlight of the universe on the Mars-Mercury conjunctions, on how we all need to like communicate. And Mars-Mercury, it is about strong debates and strong opinions. And now in the sign of Aries, dear Lord, people are really going to be speaking their truth, very unbothered, very unfiltered. But yes, it's going to create conflict for sure. So be careful for that. Mars in Aries, it doesn't ask permission. It just goes, and it doesn't look back, and it doesn't care, and it just does what it wants. And that is also like the whole reason everything is so intense right now, is because we're dealing with this whole Aries stellium, of course. There are multiple planets clustered within one sign. And that is actually pretty important stuff, you guys. It's within the first 10 degrees, and it matters because the first 10 degrees of Aries are very raw, very primal, very explosive. It is the entire like beginning of the zodiac. It is pure instinct and survival and action. And this is a very big initiation through like cardinal fire, you guys. So, of course, our action, it gets triggered and infused and inflamed so much, but it is also about like pure life force energy. Look at how you assert yourself, how you handle conflict, and also how you pursue certain goals. Look at how you deal with anger, with frustration, with passion. It's not going to be subtle, you guys. Mars here in its home sign, it is directed, it's primal. It is like the first spark that says like, I want this and I'm going to do everything to get it. And sometimes that might hurt other people. So that is why I'm like, keep repeating that. The first 10 degrees, they carry so much energy of initiation and independence and courage and impulsivity. We're all like gonna act first, and then we're gonna have to figure it out later. That is definitely the very first ignition of life here that gets triggered immensely. So of course, here at home, it can fully express itself. It is Mars in its purest form, definitely at 0 degrees. Action becomes faster, decisions more instinctive, emotions more immediate, more direct, and this is very unapologetic energy. So people are going to be less patient, the bigger desire for independence and freedom. Of course, also from the 14th until the 20th, that will be a very, very big peak period. Major intensity around the 19th and the 20th, whenever it conjuncts Saturn, of course. And yeah, on like a personal level, we can feel like we can't sit still. It's like blood's pumping, we need to go, we have this drive. It can feel like something needs to change right now. But do not quit your job impulsively. Do not break up impulsively. If you're like in the heat of the moment, you're going to be sending a text that you didn't fully think through. And then you're going to be like, oh, what did I just say? And now it's too late. And then you're going to have to try to like extinguish the fire. And that is not going to work. It's only going to grow bigger. So yeah, this is not for the faint of heart. Like if you're an Aries or another fire sign, then do not worry, you were born for this. But water signs can definitely feel the heat and the steam. Can be a little bit more difficult. Also, yeah, it's just like a lot of people are gonna start arguments over nothing. Just like because we're seeing the new moon in Aries soon on the 17th, and that will be conjunct Aries. And Aries is the sister of Aries. And she just like simply throws in the apple of discord just for the fun of it. So if you watch people do that around you right now, then that gives a very clear sense of them embodying the Aries energy in a not so positive way. People are going to also be more defensive. You're going to feel more tension in conversations, especially whenever Mercury enters the whole Aries stellium. And then the conjunction here to Neptune, that is really where action also meets illusion. And it can feel very disorienting and very distorted. And a lot of us feel this motivation, but we feel like we're not entirely sure where we're going or why we are going there. We might make a decision that is based on hope rather than reality. And if we F up right now, then the conjunction to Saturn is going to be such a kick in the butt and it's going to be such a hard reality slap. So that is why I'm mentioning it, to be a little bit more careful. Others are going to feel more sensitive and intuitive and more creative. But I think most of the people are going to feel a little bit drained by it or misled in some kind of way, or feeling backstabbed. That is also a possibility here. So it can be incredibly inspiring, but only if you're like very conscious and aware of the energy, because intuition and spirituality and also our imagination is going to like guide our action right now. But be sure to ground yourself, because otherwise we're going to need to like slow down a little bit to really be able to listen to the energy. And a lot of people are going to try to push forward and push forward and push forward. And then they're going to be hit with like a very big wall and a block whenever it conjuncts with Saturn. So do not burn yourself out. This is like the fog of war energy on a global stage. There's going to be a lot of actions that they're going to be taking without like the full information or the full clarity. And there's going to be a lot of confusion, misinformation, hidden motives, covert tactics, and a lot of propaganda around war, you guys. So leaders are going to be taking actions with unclear energy. And the narratives are going to become even more distorted. And we're going to see some psyops possibly happening with this. And yeah, the propaganda is going to get out of hand. Emotional manipulation of our energy and fear-based messages. Things are not what they seem, you guys. And yet there are still going to be actions taken that are going to be misdirected in some kind of way. So be a little bit more careful about that. Some of us are going to try to chase something that isn't realistic. Neptune, it also rules over illusions. We are going to see some people going absolutely bananas with their anger, trying to take revenge. And if you're going to be one of those people who falls into this trap, then your spiritual power might be taken away after that Mars conjuncts Neptune. Like after it conjuncts Neptune, when it meets up with Saturn, there can be a very big block being put up, or some kind of wall that you're hitting, or some kind of karmic consequence. Others are going to be trusting the wrong person because Neptune is causing so much fog right now. We need to, it is a little bit tricky, you guys. I'm not going to lie. Now, on the 16th, Mars will be at 5 degrees and it will be sextiling Pluto and Aquarius, also at 5 degrees. And that can be about like strategic power and ability to take more focused and intentional action. Maybe some of us are going to be like, oh, wow, I did something wrong. Now I need to redirect and like try to get clear of the karmic consequences before it hits Saturn, even though I think it is going to be very hard to avoid this unavoidable energy. And yeah, it's also like the sextile to Pluto can be very empowering. So I think some people are going to be misled. And after Mars passes over Neptune, they're going to wake up to the fact that they have been misled or they have been backstabbed. And then the sextile to Pluto is going to be like, okay, but not anymore, not any longer. I'm going to reclaim my power. That is a very possible manifestation of this energy. It will be at 5 degrees. The sextile between Mars and Pluto, and 5 degrees is a Leo degree. It can be a little bit dramatic. It can also be about children, love, creativity, but definitely like the world theaters, that is like also connected to 5 degrees. So it is more than about like contained power with the Mars sextile Pluto. And then you can be more like, okay, I now know what I'm doing, and I'm going to move with more purpose and more strategic action. And you can be really making decisive moves and transform something, Pluto, with in your life, with like the whole new vision that you got through. If you're like a channeler, then you can get very prophetic insights with the Mars-Neptune conjunction. That is going to be very, very difficult to then later act upon, but maybe a way to make very big decisions after the Mars-Saturn conjunction takes place. And that one happens on the 19th. Here we can see it, Mars and Saturn at 7 degrees. Very important, Libra degree. Libra is normally about diplomacy and relationships. Well, you guys, that is going to be missing. Saturn refrains it. Mars overtakes Saturn because Saturn is in fall. Mars is at home, so Mars wins this fight. And every Mars-Saturn conjunction really kicks off a new synodic cycle. So the fact that like a synodic cycle always happens when a new seed is being planted. So the start of a new synodic cycle is with the conjunction, then we see the sextile, the square, the opposition, the closing square, and then we see a new conjunction taking place. And of course, we've got the trine as well, but with these two malefics, they are the two bad boys, you guys. I'm like tuning in a little bit more on the adverse aspects. That's why. Also, Mars can be seen as like the bad guy. And then Saturn is like the strict granddaddy. And like, he's the taskmaster. He is like the one who makes sure that everything goes all right and that everyone is following the rules. But Saturn is at fall. He doesn't like to be in Aries. And then Mars, the warrior, overtakes Saturn. So that is going to create difficulties, you guys. And this is a new 2-year synodic cycle that gets kicked off. So really look at what's happening in your own chart. Maybe nothing happens at this specific date, but it can like be brought into the next 2 years. Whenever then Mars and Saturn touch each other within another aspect. So important to see if it makes good or bad conjunctions. And at 7 degrees, the Libra degree, diplomacy is going to be like missing. So yeah, that is going to be important to look at. Of course, also can be about relationships undergoing a 2-year difficult period. Whenever you have like your sun, moon, or rising here, that can definitely also be the case. But collectively, we're all going to feel like we're going to hitting a wall. And Mars is like the bad guy, and Saturn is like then about the rules. And there is going to be something that is going to happen that is going to be difficult for us. It's in the sign of war, so I do not need to explain that any further, and I do not want to manifest the more negative manifestations, outcomes of this transit, but still, you're gonna see it. Mars Saturn, they were together during 2020 in January and March, whenever they kicked off the lockdowns. And I'm not saying that that will be a global announcement, no, but we are going to see certain countries where certain mandates and measures are going to be taken that are going to block us from being ourselves, maybe freedom of speech, maybe simply going out of the house. That can definitely happen, but we're going to see very big pressure with authority, more control, force. All of that collides together, and people are going to be reacting rather emotionally to it. It's going to be new strict regulations, crackdowns within current systems. Saturn is the government, Mars is conflict, and conflicts are going to intensify because neither side is going to want to like back down. Resistance builds. It can bring major confrontations, you guys, major restrictions, but also very big turning points within leadership, within power structures, within governmental structures, within all of that. That's going to be quite massive. But on a personal level, we can feel like our energy temporarily slows down. We face resistance. Reality kicks in. We feel blocked, frustrated, tested. It's about discipline and maturity and accountability. So if you've been behaving mature, if you have been behaving responsible, then Saturn can also bring rewards. I strongly want to highlight that as well. It's about karmic rewards or karmic retributions, depending on how you handle your own power and desire and drive, and if you are being mature within using all of that. So yeah, are you patient? I am not, so I'm kind of dreading this one. But can you handle responsibility? Raw desire of Mars is turning into real committed strength, Saturn. But there can be some frustration. There can be some delay, there can be a rejection, there can be a feeling or a sense of things not working out immediately as we would want to. So yeah, we can all collectively feel like, why is everything so hard and so heavy? And why am I feeling so much pressure? That is definitely a possibility here. And I'll probably make a whole other video about this because there is actually so much to say. And maybe also looking back at the previous Mars-Saturn conjunctions and how that strongly correlated to the Russia-Ukraine war and the Zaporizhzhia power plants in Russia that got attacked in Ukraine, excuse me. So it's like all connected with one another. So another thing I want to mention is that Iran's chart, there are two charts for Iran, and the first one has a sun at 10 degrees of Aries, and the other one has an Aries rising. And if I remember correctly, it's even at 7 degrees. I think 5, 6, 7 degrees. I should double check that. But either way, either chart is getting like massively triggered here by this energy. So at this point towards like a very difficult new 2-year cycle that is getting kicked off for that country. So yeah, 2 weeks to flatten the curve and 2 weeks to end the war. That is entirely not the case if we look at the astrology, unfortunately. And I do not, however, want to manifest that. I'm just simply neutrally reading the astrology. Also, now that I'm saying it, NATO has an entire stellium within their mundane chart that is getting massively triggered here as well. That is going to be bad news for the NATO countries, and it's probably going to fall apart. So Mercury, Mars, Saturn, April 20th. But actually, if you look back at the 19th, we can already see that Mercury here is at 5 degrees. During the evening times, Mercury will also conjoin the stellium at 7 degrees. And then on the 20th, they will all conjunct at 8 degrees. So there's going to be a temporary period where Mercury, Mars, Saturn are going to be at 7 degrees together, the Libra degree. It's also about contracts or like the DOJ department because it's at the 7 degrees. Can also be about the Department of War, and PISCES is going to come majorly up with this conjunction as well, of course. But then it jumps over at 8 degrees. And 8 degrees is a Scorpio degree, you guys. Like, this is not for the faint of heart. And it's gonna scare some people. But Aries, it takes the fear like by the horns, and it just like overcomes it, and it does it anyway. So it's very palpable and very able to really channel the fear. Like, when someone, honestly, when I see or hear someone talking bad things about me or trying to get me down or trying to like backstab me or like anything like that, it's very weird, and it's something that I cannot fully explain, even though I could, but it's not like an important message for you guys. But like, if I feel like someone is trying to get me down, I can use that energy as like a motivation. If someone is trying to stop me, then I'm becoming even more motivated to make it work. And I think that is really the energy that we know all collectively need to tap into. See all the bad things you want. It's like all energy that I'm just like transmutating, like in whole sign house system. My sun in Aries is in the 8th house. I think that is also why I'm being able to do this. But the more people try to stop me, the more I get motivated to just keep on going. Aries, it is like independent. It can do things on their own. And like, I was born on the 28th. In numerology, I am a number 1. I do not need anyone to make or to do my life mission. Aries is the first sign. We are in a 1 year. It is a fire horse energy. So I'm like, yeah, let's just bring it on. Aries can like put up a fight. It can defend itself. If they are getting blocked, then it's just like another motivation to just like keep on going. And I do not want to sound arrogant, you guys, because some people, I can imagine that comes over like I have a big ego and all of that. And I understand that some people think that, but no, I had to learn it. I had to fight for a lot of things in my life. And every time I got knocked down, I just got back up, and it made me stronger, stronger, and stronger. And this is going to be such a moment for all of us, guys. We're going to take a punch in the face. Like Aries, they can take a punch or two, and they just get back up, and they just keep on going. If we look at the sun is exalted in Aries. It is about our life force here as well. The sun is still in Aries. It is still like helping us, like not on the 19th, but on the not on the 20th, but on the 19th still. And then the sun will be at 29 degrees. So most amount of energy possible. 29 is also a critical degree, but still the sun likes to be in Aries. It has enormous endurance. And I saw other Aries people struggling with certain diseases. It's like their body can take more of a hit. And luckily, we are all now being able to really draw upon that energy. So this is about getting unstuck. It is about sacred fire, sacred motivation, sacred passion coming up to really go after the things that we want to. And it's not going to go as fast as we would like with the block of Saturn in Aries, but still, it's about resilience. It's about being able to keep on going, to just transmutate the darkness of the unhealed Aries anger that is going to come up in people. So be the example that you wish to see in the world. Do not go, he said this, yeah, well, you said that. No, that is childish Aries behavior. We're not doing that. We are about to really tap into the strong, embodied spiritual warrior. Fight for the things that matter. If you get a roadblock, maybe that is just going to be a protection shield of the universe. Maybe you're going to be happy looking back on it later that you were not being able to take certain steps forward right now. Can be really about like divine intervention and like blocks from the universe maybe if some kind of desire were to came true right now, maybe that could lead to a downfall. So try to zoom out and look at things from the bigger picture, because this is harder energy, you guys. I'm not gonna try to make it prettier than it is. A lot of people are gonna feel a little bit down, a little bit low on energy, feeling like they do not get a lot of help. They can get in a conflict that can linger for a very, very long time. It's going to be very important to not let other people's anger get us down, and also try not to hold in your own anger as well. Otherwise it's going to implode, and then you're getting a fever or inflammation, or you bump your head, or you bruise yourself or burn yourself. Chiron is in Aries, you guys, and on the 17th we are having a new moon in Aries on top of Chiron. We're going to see a lot of people hurting themselves. I'm gonna like knock on wood that doesn't happen with me with my sun in Aries, but still, if you feel anger coming up, thank the anger, be grateful for it, accept it, go for a run, go like speed walking. That is like something that helps me a lot. If people were sometimes, they should see me seeing speed walking like on the nearby the sea. Yeah, needs to come out in some kind of way. Go to the gym, to the sauna, really like candle gazing, using the elemental fire, implementing that into your life. That is going to help you dramatically. Wear red clothes, dye your hair red. These are all going to be things that are going to help you. And if you feel angry, it's okay to just simply like say that to people. Sometimes I come home or I meet someone in the store and they're like, oh, hey, Astrid. And then I'm like, full on warrior mode. And then I'm like, well, yeah, right now I'm a little bit pissed off. So we'll just talk later. And then they're like, oh, okay, yeah, it's okay. Yeah, just be angry. If you can be honest with yourself and your own emotions, and you can just simply communicate that to another person without being afraid of rejection for your own emotions, then people are generally very welcoming and very receiving of that. And then they're like, yeah, well, it's good that you're angry, and it's good that you're drawing boundaries, and it's necessary, because with all the lunatics that are running around here and all the NPCs and all of that, it's quite normal to get angry from time to time. And we need to just let that come out. You just cannot project it onto other people. That is the only thing. And I feel like that is like the point where it mostly goes wrong. And I feel like if you're not going to be a person, like with this whole Aries stellium, I can feel like we're all collectively like having the battle of our lifetime. And if I now look at the chart, I do not know why it says Pisces rising. So for those of you who are wondering that, I just like forgot to list no houses in the chart, but do not like look at it being in the second house. That doesn't matter. But I feel like with all these Aries planets, we are like fighting the battle of a lifetime. And if you're like already evolved and aware of your own anger, and you're not projecting that onto other people, then it can feel like you're having to fight the battle of a lifetime with yourself. So everyone is going to get triggered somewhere along the lines here in the next couple of weeks. So just like try to accept that and try to not suppress it even more. Otherwise, it's going to come out like a volcano. Uranus is at 29 degrees right now. It is a critical degree. And Taurus, if you piss off a bull, that is something else than an Aries. Because Aries, they go from a 0 to 100 real quick. And your face, it's like an open book because it rules over the face. People immediately know whenever I'm agitated, and I do not hide it. I cannot hide it, even if I would like to do that. And that is going to become very apparent in other people as well. But as soon as an Aries speaks their mind, they go from 100 to a 0 quick. Like again, they come back down. But a bull, like a Taurus, it takes forever to piss off a bull. But once you've got a bull to that certain point, then you can like run for your life, because they're stubborn, they're fixed, they're kind of stable. But like pissing off a bull, that is a whole other level. So there are multiple archetypes, and with Uranus at 29 degrees combined with the whole Aries stellium, that is quite explosive, honestly. Mars, of course, it also rules over knives, guns, bombs, machinery. Be extra careful, you guys. Also, if you need to work with heat or on the stove, or if you're cooking food belongs to Taurus. Mars Neptune conjunction will be at 2 degrees. It's also Taurus degree. So definitely, if you're cooking and you're feeling a little bit lost in space, then you might burn yourself faster, or maybe something overcooks, like, how do you say it, overboils. So be a bit careful. That energy is a little bit more apparent in the sky right now. So also Mercury, Mars, Saturn, that is gonna be pretty interesting, you guys. That doesn't happen a lot, and that is all when Taurus season kicks off. So that is also one of the reasons why I implemented that. Venus will be on top of Uranus, very big shock to the financial system. That is actually a whole other video, but I guess I'm gonna include that for the 12 signs. Yeah, that would be actually good to do that. Okay, so Mars, Mercury, Saturn, action, Mars, communication, Mercury, and then restriction, Saturn, they all merge together. So it can feel mentally overwhelming, and thoughts, they become sharper and more rigid and more like restrictive and heavy, and there is a lot of pressure to make quick decisions or speak impulsively, and a lot of people are going to react from frustration. So words that are going to fly out, they're going to become like way harder. They can cut to the bone, and communication is going to turn easily into conflict. Judgment can be compromised here as well. A lot of people are going to be very defensive, and not a good time to make like rushed decisions or react in the heat of the moment, or put like ultimatums with people or friendships. This is about instant karma, instant consequences. And on a global level, wow, the rhetoric is going to become so sharp, so extreme, very consequential, and leaders are going to make very harsh headlines, very strict ultimatums, and they're going to communicate in ways that is going to escalate the tension rather than resolving it. So you're going to see new policies, new laws, new restrictions suddenly, and it's going to backlash very fast. And it's at an 8 degrees. It's a Scorpio degree, you guys. We might even have communication news, Mercury, about military actions or conflict or getting hurt, Mars, about some kind of leader or someone in the government. Saturn in Aries. And honestly, you guys, I do not want to manifest it, because I do not wish anyone harm depending on their actions. It is not my place to judge. But this whole Aries stellium falls into Donald Trump's 8th house of intensity. Life, death, rebirth, transformation, taxes. Oh my God, we're going to see so many issues in the States with tax revolts. That's going to be very unreal. 8 degrees, Scorpio degree, taxes, mortgages, joint finances, inheritances, big money, those who are really in power, the deep state. It's all 8 degrees, you guys. They are going to be making some decisions. And a lot of people are projecting onto a lot of the world leaders. They are just a puppet on the world stage. They are not the one making the big decisions. So stop projecting your hate onto the people who are just like sharing the message. I'm just like, don't shoot the messenger, because behind the messenger, there's a whole other network and a whole other deep state that is actually making the decisions. So we need to stop like, being angry at those who are actually not calling the shots, in my opinion. I think, honestly, that is just a waste of energy. There's so much more than meets the eyes. And with Mars and Neptune, that can become even more confusing. So do not act without thinking. Do not use force instead of like tapping more into the strategy. That will be more wise. Do not overdo things. Do not go put yourself into burnout. Consequences are going to be very fast. This is instant karma energy. And just go to the gym, walk, clean, have some movement. You're not going to solve any problems right now with using force. That is going to backlash immensely. So focus on controlling your own reactions. That is really where your power lies right now. If we then look at the Sabian symbols, which are actually pretty interesting, you guys. So the first one, for when Saturn and Mars are together at 7 degrees, while Mercury will still be at 5 degrees. That will be on the 19th. And that Sabian symbol is a large hat with streamers flying and facing east. So someone also saying it's like a large woman's hat with streamers blown by the east wind. That is like the other version of it. So yeah, movement, force, direction. There is something happening bigger than us right now, something that we cannot avoid, a force that is pushing things forward, whether we like it, whether we're ready or not. And it speaks to new beginnings. And the east wind is traditionally associated with the rising sun and also the rising sign. And it is something about like new entering your life. It's about embodiment. It's about like the avatar and the character that you play here within the matrix, and something being rebooted with all of that. So it's like a new direction and a new impulse, a new chapter that is unfolding, but the hat is being moved by the wind. So not everything happening right now is like fully under control. People are going to be losing their head a little bit. And it is an initiation. It is like some new force that enters from the future and pushing us into a new direction. It sets things into motion. And it's also like looking at the relationship between our personal will, Aries, and also all the external forces like Saturn, Mercury, Neptune, Mars, that are all going to conjunct, that are going to like throw some unexpected things into the mix. So it also says like that something that happened, we are now like carried by the circumstances that are unfolding, and it's like a little bit out of our hands. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting time period, you guys. Then if we look at the conjunction, the second one here, where everything aligns at 8 degrees, then we round up to 9 degrees. We always round up 1 degree for the Sabian symbol. That is a crystal gazer. And that is very interesting, you guys, because on the 29th of March in 2025, so last year, we had a solar eclipse in Aries on that specific degree. So all of this energy is reactivating the solar eclipse of last year. And I remember it so well because my birthday is on the 28th, and on the 29th, there was this very big solar eclipse in Aries. And I was like, okay, my entire life is about to shift. And it really did in a very dramatic kind of way, in a very positive way. I really came into touch more with myself and my identity. So for me, it was a very positive eclipse. But now for the world, eclipses in Aries are always about war, you guys, or like assertion or identity, or like something new unfolding. And a crystal gazer, the other Sabian symbol, is like a seer or a crystal gazer. And it is like someone or something that can perceiving like things beyond the visible. And it's about vision and insight and seeing what is hidden. And in 8 degrees, you guys, like it's a Scorpio degree. It's about intensity and depth and things being exposed, illuminating the darkness, transmutating that. So unfortunately, it is also going to be linked to surveillance, observation of more control, artificial intelligence, spying, collection or leaking of data, more monitoring through AI, hacking. All of that is also connected to that. And like a crystal gazer has a true vision, but it's like distorted through like Neptune's influence. There's this distorted perception here as well. But it puts a big focus on seeing versus misunderstanding, on truth versus illusion, and observation versus reaction. So that is really where we need to be mindful about perception before action. And if the perception is not clear, we better do not take immediate action. We need to try to access our intuition and read the energy and understand, or trying to understand what is coming next and what are going to be the consequences of our actions. So there is tension between intuition and impulse, between what we see and what we're going to do. So perception itself is distorted with a lot of pressure here. So yeah, a lot of fear, desire, projection, expectation, all of that is getting mixed into like a one little bag here. And Mars and Mercury and Aries, they want immediate action and immediate answers and urgency, but that can produce like childish actions in some people. Other people who are more aware, they are going to really question the ability, and also like they're going to question their own ability of perceiving things and how reliable it is, what you're thinking and what you're seeing. And it's about observing before reacting. So yeah, not everything needs an immediate response, and that is the biggest lesson of Aries. Not every battle needs to be fought. So, with that being said, global predictions, yeah, more conflict and aggression. I'm sorry, Saturn is authority, Neptune is confusion, Mars is action, wars, Aries is wars, and all of that. So, we're going to see an escalation in the Middle East and probably also in other ongoing wars. The whole Mars-Saturn conjunction triggers a lot of mundane charts. And if you have watched my Aries season workshop, then you already know that, of course. I will be hosting my Uranus and Gemini workshop soon. That will be hosted live on the 26th of April. Stay tuned for that if you want to join that. It's going to be more of a fun workshop than the intense war-based, war-focused Aries season workshop. But in the Aries workshop, we did go over a lot of mundane charts and how it triggers a lot of charts, 10th house, or the ruler of the 10th house, which is about leadership, executive orders, one who makes rules, the whole like executive branches, politics, all of that is getting like a major reshuffle now here. It's triggering the chart of Cuba, Taiwan, China, Korea, North Korea, Japan, yeah, NATO, of course, but also Belgium here. So, yeah, there's going to be an increased tension, but it is a necessary transition that we need to go through, and things are going to get better. But I just want to give you like a heads up. Unfortunately, a lot of our world leaders, and definitely the 1%ers who really like control the world, the ones who have everything under control and in power, I do not need to mention you that they are not looking to tap into the higher manifestations of these conjunctions in Aries. I'm not going to go further into all of that, because I do not want to create that. So a lot of fog of war energy, a lot of misinformation, confusion, unclear motives, a lot of psyops. I'm wondering if we're going to see an attack on the banking tower of Larry Silverstein here in California, with Mars Neptune being at 2 degrees. 2 degrees is a Taurus degree connected to banking and the financial system. So yeah, that's going to be interesting to keep an eye on that. Authority is becoming like massive under pressure here as well. We're going to see governments overreaching, announcing strict rules. It's going to bring a lot of resistance against authority. So the power triggers are becoming very, very visible here. And then with Mercury, aggressive communication, propaganda, a lot of fear-based messages. A lot of people are going to get lost into the whole fear-based narrative of the media. And then Mars, Saturn. Saturn is also like about what is like graspable, what's real, what we can hold. It's reality, and we can see issues with infrastructure. We can see breakdowns with infrastructure, supply chain problems as well. But the higher manifestation is really about like breaking out of stagnation, taking bold action, starting something new, standing up for yourself, but only if it's done with awareness. So yeah, it won't be easy. It won't be smooth. If you F up, then it won't be without consequences. So the biggest question here is like, can we act with a lot of courage without losing control? Perseverance, that is going to be so necessary. So let me know if you want to add something to that. Also, like, let me know how it plays out in your own personal life, or are there like maybe some important global things you are thinking about as well that could be like the manifestation of all these transits and conjunctions. I really always love to hear from you guys, and you might have noticed it, but on some videos I'm not able to respond to certain comments, but I do, however, read all of them, you guys, and I'm very happy to be sharing some thoughts with all of you, to ping pong back and forward. Your guys' insights really help me a lot as well, so thank you. All right, with that being said, we are going to start with the 12 signs, but I'm going to take a quick break. All right, we're going to start the readings for the 12 signs. And you can first start listening for your rising sign. Then you can also listen for your sun sign. And if you have a moon in Aries, it might also be important to listen for your moon sign and then implement that more onto themes like your family and your home, of course. All right, we're going to start with my dear fellow Aries, sun, moon, or rising. My guys, let me know how you're doing with the energy. I'm going to put a bit more of a focus on April the 19th for all of these signs, because on the 19th we have the famous Saturn-Mars conjunction, and we're also seeing that Venus, Moon, and Uranus are also conjunct at the end degrees of Taurus. Now, of course, the moon is exalted in the sign of Taurus, which is positive, but when it conjuncts Uranus that day, then that will be very interesting and very, very loud, you guys. So, of course, for Aries, that is like very personal. It is in your first house. Mars, your ruler, is also within its home sign of Aries. So massive activation for you and for your identity, your whole direction, also how you show up in the world. And it's also like you're going a very big feeling, or like a surge of energy and motivation and a lot of urgency to like move forward. Maybe you want to start something new. You're so good at initiating things. And you might want to redefine yourself with starting something new. And Mercury, Mars, Saturn around the 19th, it can feel like, okay, one step forward, two steps back, one step forward, two steps back. So do not get demotivated by that. It is like normal within the astrology right now. You might feel very motivated one time, and then the other time, like, you get blocked in the next step. So it's like stop and go all of the time, and it can feel like you're ready to go forward, but maybe something within your current circumstances or because of other people, maybe you get pushed back in some kind of way, and it's actually a test of the universe to see how you're going to handle the pressure. And your frustration is going to get triggered, and it's about also looking more closely at your own assertion and your own impulses and your own reactions on other people or on certain situations. The first house is also about you and how you present yourself and assert yourself. So your energy, it's getting more stronger, and people are going to notice it, and maybe others are going to get triggered by it. And it's a bit more intense than usual. Maybe some are gonna look at you and see you as more dominant. Aries like is very alpha, female, alpha male. That energy gets strongly triggered. It's also about survival mode, so be careful about like the fight and flight response, and try to keep that under control. You're gonna get a little bit more confrontational. even when you do not mean to do that. That is definitely possible here. And with Mercury, your words are going to be very sharp. And with Saturn, other people might really get more easily hurt by what you say. So be mindful about that, to not blindly go on the attack. But you can definitely be very unfiltered and even more honest, and people are already like used of you. So also Saturn, look at self-awareness right now. Do not dim your sparkle or your fire, but be mindful of it, and speak with intention, and be the leading example. Aries is a sign of leadership. Be the example that you want to see in the world, and move with control and with structure and maturity. And if you're gonna do that, then you're gonna pass the test. So do not fear it. You're definitely gonna make some kind of impression. Make sure it's the right impression. And also, with the whole triple conjunction in your second house, something very different happens in Taurus. Venus is actually in her home sign of Taurus. It's in the second house, which is good for your finances. An exalted moon conjunct Uranus at the final degree. This is a moment where things might start to shift very, very quickly around your money, stability, your self-worth. There can be new sudden opportunities arising. With that, it might also be like unexpected expenses. Look at which aspects it's mixing in your own little chart. And there can also be a very big breakthrough in how you value yourself. And excuse me, it's like your identity is being restructured, it is being tested, and then your foundation, it is also being like shaken and upgraded at the same time. So this is like a very important time frame for you guys. Do not rush blindly into action just because you're gonna feel more fire. Let things develop naturally. Maybe you're gonna need to implement some more time. Let things stabilize within their own natural like process. And also, what you're building right now has a lot of potential. A lot of potential, not just to like redefine or restructure who you are, but also truly what you stand for, and your values can be changing, and your self-worth. And people are gonna notice that you're like putting more weight into the scales of like what you value, what your worth is, how you stand in your power. And some might be a little bit triggered by that, so make sure you do not really give them a reason to get like extra triggered. Otherwise you could end up in a conflict with Mars Saturn. But if you're behaving mature and you're looking to restabilize and have some breakthroughs within your finances, then this can be a very helpful period, Aries. And fortune favors the brave, you guys, and I know you guys really are that. So also with Mercury, Mars, be very careful about your sharp words. You might end up in a debate. Saturn can also be about authority. You can end up in a fight with authority. Is it like an institution or your boss or your father? The sun is at 29 degrees, which does also resemble your career or your father figure here. And then with the conjunction to Saturn or with your chart ruler Mars, there might definitely be something like, it's difficult and I do not know how to like move forward. Just give it time, be patient. Not every roadblock is here to really make you throw in like the towel in the ring. And I know you guys are not like that, but there might be an overall sense of something that happens that can demotivate you around this time. So breathe, be patient, do not be too reactive. Really look at what you value and look at how that is actually affecting your identity and how other people see you. And with Saturn, like, do not go on the attack or on the fight with, like, for example, police or someone from within the government or someone who has something to say over you. I know you guys do not like to be told what to do. I know you guys do not like to have someone standing above you. Maybe you're gonna have to back down and let someone have their way in order for you to really have and maintain your inner peace. That is like a possibility here within the chart. But definitely, this is also trying to teach you patience and trying to really show you that your potential has a lot, that your fire has a lot of potential, but you need to like structurize your fire more. Do not go like blindly go out on the attack or something like that, because then karma is really gonna like get you, and then it could prove to be of like really demotivating in some kind of way. If some desire doesn't come to fruition, maybe it's also like a safety from the universe. So try not to butt heads, not with others, not with yourself. Just let things naturally progress and unfold over time. 7 degrees, there's also a Libra degree. So something within your relationships might also be triggering you to change something within your identity, and definitely also about very strong debates here with Mercury and Mars. But definitely can also be actually with Neptune in your sign, your boundaries are a little bit more porous and you're having more psychic experiences. And it might also be like drawing boundaries and protecting your energy, saying no. But I know you guys do not have a problem with that at all. So yeah, let me know what happens in the comments. I'm actually quite curious about how that is going to play out for you. And just know with Mars in your sign that you are like really moving forward, and just take it step by step and do not force things. So good luck, my dear Aries. We have Taurus and Moon or Rising. All right, my dear Taurus, for you, this whole stellium and Aries happens in the 12th house. So very internal, a lot more quiet, but your unconscious might get a little bit more loud. It's like a little bit paradoxical sometimes in the 12th house, but it is like more of a psychological process and also very spiritual process for you. So everything happens like more under the surface. Mars, Saturn, Mercury, they're all activating the space, especially around the 19th. On the 17th, we're having a new moon. But I wanted to really specifically look at this day because something very specifically happens within your sign during that day as well. We are seeing an exalted moon in Taurus in your sign, Venus, your chart ruler, in its home sign, conjuncting Uranus at the final end degree of Taurus, which is very, very important, you guys. It is huge. Like I almost have no words to explain this. This can be like really stepping into a whole new version of yourself, and there is like going to be sudden emotional breakthroughs and shifts in how you see yourselves and how other people see you, how you present yourself, and you're going to feel more magnetic, more expressive. Be careful about like shock therapy here to other people, because you're like very rebelliousness right now with Uranus at the end degrees, but also you're more expressive, more ready to embody who you truly are, to show you your unique traits and quirks, and that is to be celebrated. So your inner world is being cleared out in the 12th, and the more ready that you are to do that, the more you're going to embody like the upgraded version of yourself, and take your time internally to process everything, because externally you're stepping into something completely new and it needs to be built on a more honest and aligned foundation for yourself. This can be breakthroughs in love and finances. You can feel more magnetic. People feel you're more charming. Maybe they're going to ask you why you're a little bit more quiet. During that day, it can really like also come out. And at the same time, with like everything in the 12th house, your subconscious is like turning all the way up, and it's about old patterns and fears and self-sabotaging behavior being illuminated. So everything you've been evolving or that you're not seeing clearly, or maybe the things you're having a blind spot upon, it's not avoid, and like you cannot avoid it anymore. So that can feel a little bit more intense. But yeah, from time to time here in the next couple of weeks, that is going to be a little bit more overwhelming, but it can be incredibly powerful. It's giving you a lot of awareness to finally work through it or have more insights onto the things that are actually blocking you. So let me know how that happens for you, Taurus, and I wish you good luck. You have Gemini, Sun, Moon, or Rising. You're going to have this Aries stellium in your 11th house. So this is very strongly about your future. It's your hopes, your dreams, your aspirations, and also the people around you who you're like building that together with. Mars, Mercury, Saturn, all together here in this space can bring a lot of pressure from like your social world, your social sphere, your friend groups, your networking. All of that is getting massively lit up, and you're going to start to question like certain friendships, and also the communities that you belong with, or like the groups that you're involved with, and maybe you're going to see some kind of truth or some kind of block by other people, and you're going to start questioning like, are these people actually aligned with me and with my future path? And you might cut and sever ties with some of your friendships, or maybe some of your friends are going to run or bump into some problems, and they're going to ask you to help, and you're not going to feel like you're going to feel restricted in some kind of specific way to do that. So there can be tension, there can be competition, there can be misalignment, and it's going to bring up people, situations, and your friends are going to be pushing you like in different directions, and it can be a little bit difficult here. And maybe you're going to also be like feeling caught in the middle. Maybe there's going to be some big fight happening in your friend group, and you're not going to know like which side, or what do I say, or how do I navigate this. Being caught in the middle, maybe even forced to like step up and take control of certain situations within your friend group. That is definitely a possibility here. Aries is about leadership. Maybe you're going to be put in some kind of leadership role. Maybe you're not going to want to do that, or you might feel unsure. Doubts can come up. Maybe some of your friends are like proving to be a block about your like over your energy. You might feel drained by certain situations. On the other side, people are going to really come up to you for guidance and for answers and for direction, and you're actually the one that can really provide that. So it can feel empowering, but also overwhelming, honestly. And there can be a big notion of responsibility here. Responsibility is heightened within your social sphere, and with Saturn, it's not to be taken lightly. Maybe you feel like there's a lot at stake, or a lot on the plate, or a lot of expectations and a lot of pressure to get things right. And with Mercury in the mix here, there is also like important conversations with friendships, or friendships are going to have very important news for you, and maybe you need to pace yourself, be very intentional with your words, and try not to carry your whole friend group onto your shoulders. Otherwise, that can prove to be of a very, very big burden for you here. So, Saturn and Mercury, Mars conjunctions, they are rare and they are a little bit more heavy to carry. Then what also comes with that is that Venus, Moon, and Uranus will be in your 12th. So brings a very different energy in the mix here. Very private, internal. You're really going through big internal shifts here, and you might release some friends, some patterns, something blocked, something karmic, and you're definitely shedding out what's no longer aligned with your path and with your future, and that is becoming very clear here, and it might be suddenly during this specific day. So you're gonna probably need to step back from certain people or certain situations which prove to be like an energy drain for you, and the outer world, the 11th, is asking you to step up. And then the other conjunction in the 12th is asking you to really reflect, disconnect, and realign. So you can feel like a push and pull energy here. Is like, don't force things. Redefine your future. Do it for yourself. Just know that not everyone is gonna meant to come along with you. On the positive side, you could also meet someone very important within your group settings, within like going to a networking event, that can even also help you to shed more light on your unconscious patterns, or someone or something is going, like, you're going to hear a friend say something, and that can turn you more inward and facing your internal patterns. So that can actually also be very, very helpful. So let me know how it plays out, my dear Gemini, and I wish you good luck. You have Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising. You're going to have this whole stellium in your 10th house. And it's all about career, reputation, publicly visible, your direction in life, the mark that you want to like leave behind is your legacy. It can also be your boss, your father. Mars is very strong in its home sign here. With Mercury and Saturn, this brings a huge surge of like ambition, but it is also bringing a lot of pressure. So you maybe want to like go full force ahead in your career, and then suddenly you feel blocked. It's like back and forward, back and forward. So you're gonna feel more driven, but something inside you like lights up and says like, I need to go after this, but at the same time it can be proven difficult to really obtain it during this time. You might have it, but there are going to be some obstacles or some delays or some moments that you're going to feel blocked or tested. And it's not about like rushing to success. It's really about like building something that actually lasts in the long term. And in the 10th house, it's very visible. People are seeing you, noticing you, watching you, whether that's bosses, authority figures, your father, people in your environment. And there can be definitely tensions within your professional dynamics. You feel like your expectations are high and you're being pushed, and authority figures are going to be more demanding as usual. Maybe you're going to need to draw some boundaries not to get burned out in the job. So yeah, you're wanting to handle things. You want to step into a leadership role. Your words, your actions, your reactions are really going to determine how that plays out right now. So it all carries a lot of weight, and it's about leading with integrity and not just trying to chase ambition and approval. And if you're going to react impulsively, or if you're going to let frustration take over, then that can really create a blowback here. So stay grounded. If you are mature right now, then this is really going to elevate your reputation over the long term. Then Venus, Venus, the Moon, and Uranus are actually in your 11th at the end degrees. So this brings a very big shift in your networks and your friendships, and also your future vision and your communities. There might be a very big breakthrough in that, and maybe friends are going to help you with your career, or they can give you a tip, or you meet the right person at the right time. Maybe they're going to be offering you a new job that you can do for the long term as well. So there are going to be certain changes with who you align with, who you support. Maybe you're coming to realize that certain people do not deserve your support anymore, and like something shifting in that. You're going to meet new people. You're going to receive unexpected support here if it aligns well in your own natal chart. But there's definitely like a shift in your belonging, and your career path is being repressured and like refined right now. But that then like is opening up a whole new future in like new and unexpected ways. So do not try to control it. Just let it things evolve naturally, and people and opportunities are gonna come in now that they are gonna play such a big role in where you're headed next. So good luck, Cancer. We have Leo, Sun, Moon, or Rising. All right. The Aries stellium is lining up your 9th house. It's making a trine from a fellow fire sign. It's all about expansion, philosophy, your worldview, your beliefs, your truth, your direction, where you want to grow into. Very spiritual house as well. Mars, of course, in a fellow fire sign in the 9th, trining your Sun, Moon, or Rising. You're gonna have a boost in energy, you guys. Very strong urge to explore, to gather new insights, to learn, to experience. And yeah, there's like a need for something bigger, an insatiable hunger for new experiences, and maybe also for traveling. Be careful, because it's not the best time to travel, honestly. We're going to see some issues with airplanes during this period of time. Mars, Saturn, Mercury, it's not just about inspiration. It puts a pressure on your belief system, and it asks you to look at things differently. Maybe you're going to be challenged by what you think is true. Something shifting in that, and maybe you're gonna start to question everything yourself, really looking for some new answers. And it can show up in debates and disagreements with Mars, Mercury, Saturn, and maybe even your own internal conflict about what you believe is true. So You're going to feel more outspoken about your beliefs, more passionate about your opinions, but you're going to run into resistance from other people. Now, luckily, it is well aspected to your sun, moon, or rising, so you're one of the signs that's going to deal better with this energy. But still, Saturn, Mercury, Mars, they can bring some friction in conversations about like higher wisdom, higher beliefs. All of that can get a little bit challenged here. So, yeah, if something doesn't like, if something cracks under pressure, then yeah, it's going to be very obvious why and from what beliefs that comes and how you're maybe blocking yourself by certain beliefs and rewiring that. Very helpful energy to study, teach, publish, work towards something that expands your life. All of that can be incredibly productive, but patience, consistency. There's going to be bursts of enthusiasm, but they might need to be contained a little bit more. Uranus, Sun, Uranus, Moon, and Venus are in your 10th at the end. So that is about your career, your visibility, your public image. There can be new sudden opportunities, breakthroughs, and shifts in how you're being seen by other people. And you might receive unexpected recognition. And maybe you want to step into a more of a leadership role, or maybe your boss has some positive financial unexpected news, or maybe like, yeah, it's like while your inner belief system is being refined and maybe a little bit challenged and restructured, your outer life is really opening up in unexpected ways. So let your growth guide your direction. Your perspective expands, your path is changing, and where you're being headed towards it might be bigger than what you originally invented or believed. So do not talk yourself down. Yeah, like be positive to yourself. Like this is a whole fire stellium trining your fire planet. That is like actually very, very positive. Can also be about truths being exposed. Can even be about other people, because if you are like yeah, it's like with the moon then jumping into the 11th house, Uranus about to jump into the 11th house. It's already picking up the energy of the 11th. So maybe you're seeing some truths about people in your social environment and how they're blocking you, or how they are actually not sharing the truth, and something being exposed. And then by that, your belief system switches and you can just like implement a whole new set of belief system after that. And also very positive for connecting to your higher self. So good luck, my dear Leo. We have Virgo, Sun, Moon, or Rising. So you're gonna have this Aries stellium in your 8th house. Important, Virgo, and a little bit more intense. It is a very deep house. It is about shared finances, contracts, emotional, psychological, sexual, financial entanglements with other people. It can be about trust issues, power dynamics, boundaries, people preying on your energy, psychic attacks, occult things, occult knowledge. It's a pretty interesting house, the 8. Having so much energy in there. Be careful. Like from now, you're already seeing this on the 10th. From now until actually the 18th of May, whenever Mars travels through your 8th house, be careful about sexual experiences. People might be like, if you make some love with someone new, because the 8th house, it is about intensity and passion and depth and soul bonding and soul merging. But with these bad boys all in the 8th house, you might feel blocked. STDs, careful for that. I'm just like being fully open. Be careful about getting ghosted. People trying to steal your energy, energetically, sexually. Something to really be mindful for in the next couple of weeks, but especially around this date. The 8 is also about boundaries with Saturn there and Mars. You might need to be very strict in your boundaries, otherwise they can steal something. The 8th house is also like soul. Maybe it's also about like the darker parts of life, and you might need to untangle from certain dynamics. Be careful not to get wrapped up in that during this time, or it could prove to be of like a difficult 2-year period. I'm just like saying that For some of you, that will definitely be the case. I know that. Also, be careful about what your partner is doing with shared finances. You might need to like check that. Maybe he's spending more, or him or her are maybe spending more without you realizing it. And then you come to terms with it, and then you're like, oh my God, I'm going to need to pay this off in the next couple of years. It's about debt. Also, mortgage. Can also be about divorce in the 8th house, splitting up. Mars cuts, severs ties in the 8th. A little bit more murky territory here. It's going to bring some pressure into situations where you're like tied to other people. It can be financial, can also be about taxes. Do not sign anything around this date. I'm like that serious. Mercury, Mars, Saturn. Oh my God. If you're like going to place your signature under a certain document around this period of time, that can prove to be of like difficulties for the next 2 years. But also look in your own natal chart. Does it make squares, trines? Could very well be that you are asking the bank for a loan and you are going to be able to get a loan. And if it makes a trine, then you can sign it. It's all very dependent on your own natal chart, but still be a little bit wary and look at the reality if you're going to be able to really carry the consequences of what you're about to sign. It can also be about inheritances, you guys. Honestly, for some of you, that is also going to be the case. Be careful about what you sign. If you accept a certain inheritance, there might be something that is not obvious, that is not being like revealed immediately. Maybe you're going to have to come to terms with certain debts or something like that. Mercury is still under like Neptune's influence. It can be about lies, deceits, things not being honest, money getting dissolved. So it's not all going to be negative for all of you guys. I'm like fully prepared for that shit because I am a Virgo rising, and I'm like, can be very possible, like can be very positive as well if it's well aspected in your chart, but still it is like in a quincunx aspect towards your sun, moon, or rising. So if you have a 7-degree sun, moon, or rising in Virgo, I would be very, very careful. Just saying that. So also be sure that like your taxes are in order. Maybe some of you are going to get an audit. That is also possible. Others are going to have to audit their own shared finances because something is like not going or something is not clear. But can also definitely be energetic. How much you're giving versus how much you're receiving, what you start right now. Within those realms, things might feel a little bit out of balance, and maybe you need to rebalance that. So yeah, it can be a little bit complicated. If you're dealing with agreements, contracts, commitments, be very, very careful. Do not rush into something without reading like the fine print, understanding what you're getting yourself into. There can be hidden details, unclear terms, situations where things are not presented honestly. Other people. That is like the 8th house. Other people's bullshit is also the 8th house. Maybe some other people are going to bring certain situations in your life that is going to bring a lot of intensity. More expectations. Maybe a lot of people are going to project their issues onto you. And that is definitely something I have already noticed. Like right now as a Virgo rising, people were like, don't come at me with that energy. You're mad. I'm like, I'm not mad. Like, I'm like, this is weird. Like, I'm not even mad at all. Like, I'm an Aries. If I am mad, you're gonna definitely know that I'm mad. So, just some weird power dynamics. People trying to overpower you in a psychic kind of way can also be the manifestation. So, protect your energy a little bit better. Have some salt in your pocket, black tourmaline, shungite. If you feel like people are draining your energy or like projecting a lot of their stuff onto you, you might need to cut them loose. Mars in the 8th house, it cuts, severs ties with other people. So that might be the case. And that is okay. Because with Neptune in the 8th house, you're having a little bit like more issues and having to deal with energetic vampires. That is just simply the truth. And with the triple conjunction here, it's going to become very obvious who is an energetic vampire. So yeah, just cut them out. Then with Uranus, Moon, Venus, all at the top of your chart at the end of the ninth house, that can definitely bring a fresh, like breath of fresh air. There can be expansion, shifts, breakthroughs in your mindset, because you're going to come to terms with like the darker side of life. And with that, you can change something within your truth or in what you believe in. You can shift your whole, like, it's also actually very financial stuff, you guys, because the eighth house is about shared finances. Venus, conjunct the moon, exalted moon in Taurus, conjunct Uranus can be a very big breakthrough that is going to happen within work. If you have studied something, you can now implement that. Venus is the ruler of your second house. It can also be about self-worth. And Aries, it has a lot of self-respect. Sometimes it, like as an Aries myself, I tend to cut out people rather easily when I feel like they are abusing me or taking advantage of me, and I have no problem with closing that door, because Venus, it is the ruler of the second house of self-worth, and it's conjunct the moon and Uranus at the top of your chart. Something very publicly can also happen. Maybe something in regards to females, maybe something online, maybe something within like also how you work online, how you earn your money online, how you earn your money with technology. Very big shift in that can be happening, and it can be quite unexpected, and it's going to be very noticeable for people to see. So it really depends on how honest and how mature you are acting yourself, how this is then going to unfold over the next 2 years. But it can definitely be about a very big breakthrough that is waiting for you to happen inside of your career. And by that, your finances can get a boost. All very big financial stuff here, Virgo. You might also get like a tax refund that is higher than you expected, proving you more stability. It all really depends on the own natal aspects to your chart. So it could, the eighth house is very intense. It could turn out very different for a lot of other Virgo rising. So let me know how this manifests. Honestly, as a Virgo rising myself, this is actually going very well for me. So it's very positive developments, breakthroughs. Ninth house can also be connected to working abroad, having breakthroughs within that happening. More publicity is also the ninth house. Uranus is about to shift over into the 10th, can be about like you're at the brinks of a very big breakthrough in your career. So I know it's like a little bit more murky territory in the 8th, but definitely it doesn't need to be bad. So release what's draining you, create space for something more aligned, more expansive, and in the end you're going to become more free. But Mars in the 8th can definitely be a little bit more tricky to navigate. It's going to bring up a lot of deep stuff. But yeah, let me know how it plays out for you. Good luck. We have Libra symbolizing. You're going to have this whole Aries stellium activating your opposing sign. Your whole 7th house is packed with fiery, feisty Aries energy. So 7th, relationships, partnerships, business dealings, contracts, clients, one-on-one sessions, how you relate to people on a one-on-one basis. Mars, Mercury, Saturn, all aligning together can bring a lot of intensity in your connections and how other people are going to be projecting their stuff onto you and vice versa. People are going to be more direct, more outspoken, more confrontational than usual, and it can really create a very big break or make moment, or make or break moment, whatever. You're going to have to address something within your relationships. This is not surface level. It is like the underlying issues are going to come up. Dynamics are going to get tested. People are going to behave a little bit more bossy towards you. You're being triggered within your people-pleasing behavior, and you might need to draw some boundaries. If you're going to let other people run over you right now, then that could prove to be a 2-year difficult news cycle that gets kicked off. So be honest about your dynamics, and where you're being asked also to like what is working and what is not. And communication is going to become a very big theme. A lot of pressure, a lot of heated conversations, maybe even misunderstandings with partnerships. But definitely You're gonna feel triggered where other people are reacting too strongly towards you, but that is important that it happens. It creates more awareness. Maybe you need to draw some new lines. Maybe other people are draining you of your energy. Not everything that's happening is actually about the other person, and it's not everything is not also happening because it wants to show you things about yourself. You're gonna see projection, mirroring, emotional reactions that are maybe bigger than the situation itself. So slow down, take a breath, do not react impulsively. Other people are gonna be reacting impulsively towards you. That is definitely a given here. But choose clarity over conflict. And if you try to win in the moment, then you might end up damaging connections that actually matter. So if people are a little bit more venting or a little bit more furious or a little bit more aggressive within their behavior, try not to let that get you. It probably has not a lot of it probably has not a lot to do with you. It's just showing you where you're maybe too sweet, where you might need to stand up, and it might also not like play out in your life. The seventh house can also be about your partner and what happens within your marriage, but maybe just simply like trigger something within your partner's life. And maybe maybe you're gonna need to hold space for them in some kind of way. And there's also a possibility. So at the same time, Venus, your chart ruler, is within its home sign of Taurus in your 8th, conjunct an exalted moon in Taurus and also Uranus at the critical 29 degree. That brings a lot of sudden shifts in emotional intimacy and in trust and power dynamics. Shared resources can be very financial. Maybe there is a very big breakthrough in your partner's life, and with that, something shifts within your shared finances. Breakthroughs and vulnerability, deeper emotional bonding because of that, and there can be unexpected triggers happening in how safe or secure that you feel within a connection. So relationships are going to be tested, but underneath all of that, there is a deeper transformation happening. So do not ignore what you feel. It's not just about like fixing relationships. It's also about like redefining what real connections are and what real trust means to you. So let me know how it plays out. Pretty important stuff here, Libra. Good luck. Scorpios in moon rising. So Aries is going to activate everything like a whole stellium within your 6th house. So that is about your health and well-being, your daily life, your routines, your colleagues, your office space, your responsibilities, but also the house of stress and your pets and like rental agreements and all of that. So Mars and Aries, quite strong here. It is your ancient chart ruler. So still very, very important for you, my dear Scorpio. And it's conjunct Mercury and Saturn in your 6th house. Take care of your health. Chronic inflammatory issues can definitely be triggered here. Also, I just know that it's gonna create some serious issues for a lot of Scorpios. So if you already feel like you're having troubles with your health, get a second opinion, get a health check, work on your repressed anger that is imploding inside. Try not to take revenge. You could get the beating because of that. Or if you want to take revenge or use Mars in an unhealthy kind of way, then that is going to implode and cause health issues. So on the positive side, it is a very busy period, very, very busy energy. It creates a very big push to get things done, and you're going to feel extremely motivated to tackle a lot of to-do lists. Your productivity is being increased. You feel like you need to handle everything at once, and you're going to feel a little bit overwhelmed, and it can feel like not only you're trying to manage your own responsibilities, but maybe other people are trying to add more onto all the stuff you already need to do. So be careful of burnout. When Mars is in the 6th house, there is a very big chance of burnout, and Saturn is already in the 6th house. So if you have been overdoing it, then this can be a point where you're feeling like, okay, yeah, now I'm going to need to slow down. You need to pace yourself, and you need to restructure how you work, how you manage your energy. Where are you overcommitting? Where are you taking on things that aren't actually yours? Where are you trying to escape responsibility with Mars in in Aries in the sixth. That can also have negative consequences on your health. So there can be frustration around like timing with colleagues, with like your boss, with things at the office, with deadlines. You might make a mistake in your job with Mercury on Neptune. Be careful before you hand things in or read like the fine print, before you like wrap up a task. Maybe double check everything in regards to papers, or it's going to be a little bit more difficult to deal with. um Things are probably not going to go as smoothly as you're used to, and you can be like, I'm so used to doing this, I've been doing this every single day, and now it doesn't work like I would like to. And the sixth house can be very much about perfectionism, and with Saturn it's about endurance and sustainability, but boundaries need to be taken. New measures might need to be implemented with Saturn here. So do not wait until you're overwhelmed. You might need to delegate some more tasks. If you're self-employed, then the whole sixth stellium trines the 10th. Maybe you're going to need to take on a new employee that is going to help you. Be sure you take on someone trustworthy. And I do not want to trigger your Scorpio PTSD, because I know you already have issues with like trust and all of that. But yeah, with Mercury, Neptune. Take care of your immune system. Take care of your inflammatory diseases, issues, burnout. Do not like overwork yourself and then go run 10 miles. No, take care of yourself. Venus, Moon, Uranus are in your seventh house at the end degrees of Taurus. This is positive, because it can bring a very big shift in your breakthrough. It can also bring you even a new business partnership, and it all feels a little bit intense and demanding, but you can ask help. But you need to be willing to ask help. And I think that is where the problem is for Scorpio. Your partnerships, the seventh house, can have a shakeup, a breakup. This is like make or break time within relationships. But also your partner can have a very big breakthrough within his finances, or if he's working with technology or online or in an alternative field, then that can prove to be of a breakthrough. But definitely, you're going to feel that they're more supportive if you ask for help, and you might also really meet someone new very unexpectedly. So that is going to change like the dynamic within your relationship. So do not let stress overwhelm you, and let that be dragged into your relationship, because it is a very like triggering aspect here. There is an opportunity for connection, but you need to allow the space for it to happen. So good luck, Scorpio, and let me know how you guys are doing with your health, or maybe you are like applying for a new job. Let me know how it's happening. Good luck. All right, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising. You're going to have the whole Aries stellium activating your fifth house. So it's all about joy, creativity, your passions, your self-worth. It's also about your honesty, your inner child. And with Mars, it is very aligned with like your natural fire energy. It's like a fellow fire sign. So you're going to feel this very strongly, and you are like the biggest winners of this whole Aries stellium, because it trines you, it trines your ninth house. It's in the fifth house of fun. I think you're gonna be, together with Aries and Leo, the best signs to like handle this energy, of course. So fifth house is also your inner child. So there's a strong surge of inspiration and desire to create, to have fun, to take risks, to really follow what excites you. And it is not only playful energy, there is some pressure here as well, with the two malefics planting a new seed and starting a new synodic cycle here within your fifth house. And you need to really follow what excites you, but you may also feel driven to do something with your creativity, to take it more seriously, to maybe turn a passion into something tangible, maybe something that you can earn money off. Saturn is the ruler of your second house of finances. You might start to earn more money with the things that you love doing. How beautiful is this? But it's going to take some very hard work and a lot of effort, and accountability and maturity. So it's not going to come like falling out of the sky onto your lap. No, you're going to have to put in the work. But definitely, it's very powerful, and do not get too do not get ahead of yourself. Do not push yourself too hard. Do not expect immediate results. It's going to take some time. In your personal life, it can be very romantic. It can play out in the connections with people that you enjoy or like having fun with. It can be about your children in the fifth. Maybe something happens with your children. Maybe they bump into a roadblock with Saturn, Mars in your fifth. That is definitely possible. But your children might also become more expressive, more bold, more direct, and that is also like applying for you, my dear Sag. With Mercury here as well, your communication becomes more unfiltered, even more unfiltered. But I love you, Sages. You just like give it as it is. You just like you blurt it out. You're already quite unfiltered and unbothered, and that is why I feel so much love in my heart for you guys. So others are gonna feel like you come across stronger, maybe stronger than you intend to. Maybe some of them are gonna be a little bit like, wow, that escalated quickly. So be careful. It is about fun, but do not overdo it. Take risks, but do not be reckless. Follow your excitement, but stay grounded in how you act on it. And now, Venus, this is, why do I like for all the signs, I want to say Venus, Sun, Uranus, but it's Venus, Moon, Uranus. I do not know what's happening in my head today, but of course, the Sun will jump over into Taurus the next day here in your sixth house. So a lot of focus then again on like work and maybe having more fun at your job, in your work. Major breakthroughs within the job with Venus, Moon, and Uranus here in the sixth. It is about your daily routine, your daily life, your work habits, your health habits, and you might feel inspired to change your routine. You might want to improve your lifestyle, bring more pleasure and balance into your daily life, and there's going to be certain insights about your work, who you work with together, how you take care of yourself, how you let stress get into like how your work stress is related to your health and well-being. And there might be new insights, new awareness, very sudden, very unexpected. There can be some kind of female, because of course Venus is about females, and the moon also, Uranus is breakthroughs, unexpected things, unexpected money, unexpected like opportunities. So yeah, it is actually your creative, expressive side is being activated, and by that your daily structure is also evolving, and build a daily life that supports joy and not one that really burns you out while you chase it. No, this can be very positive, my dear Sag, and let me know what happens. We have Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising, so the Aries stellium will trigger your fourth house, my dear Capricorn, and your chart ruler Saturn is also there. It's going to make a conjunction with Mars on the 19th. Might be feeling like you're hitting a temporary roadblock. And the fourth house, it is about your home, your family, your roots, your emotional foundations, your patterns of upbringing. Mercury, Mars, Saturn all co-joining here. It can bring a lot of pressure in your private life or with your family. Maybe you need to, fix something urgently. Maybe you need to improve something within your situation at home. Maybe you need to handle responsibilities. Maybe there's more onto your plate in regards to family. You might also be finally addressing long-standing family issues and issues within the dynamics. But it's really also about like, it's not easy, it's not calm, it is loud, it is fast, it is intense, and emotions can run high. Mars in the fourth can definitely bring like quarrels with family members or with people that you live with together with. This is just like the case. So also it can give you the energy to really fix and overcome issues in your family. So speaking up, being more unfiltered, unbothered. I know you Cappies are very stable, very calm, but still there might be like something lit up at home. That is possible. It's actually going to show you exactly where the cracks are, and not to punish you, but so that you finally deal with it. And it is going to play out through family interactions. People are going to be more demanding, more reactive, harder to deal with than usual. Maybe you need to take care of an elder person. There can be a little bit more tension. Situations are not entirely clear or honest. Mercury, Neptune here, there can be lies. There can be deceitful things happening in the family. Maybe that is going to get exposed later after there's like a reality slap here with Mercury, Mars, Saturn. Definitely heated, strong debates. Not everything needs to be solved immediately, Capricorn. Not every emotion needs to be acted on in the moment. It's about responding but not reacting, and maybe you need to address new boundaries, and you should be expressing that calm and clearly like you are, my dear Cappies. Try not to get lost into the frustration. It's going to be very temporary. It is a very sensitive place in the fourth. You can feel like overly emotional. Something blocks you within the family and you feel overwhelmed, but at the same time, we have Venus, Moon, Uranus, all in the fifth house, and the Moon is exalted in Taurus. Venus is at home, but Uranus is at a critical degree. It brings a very big contrast to the whole situation here. The fifth house is joy, creativity, love, and also the connection with your children, but also the connection with your inner child. And with everything being highlighted in the fourth, that is going to be a pretty big theme. Something is going to come up that you need to work through. You cannot avoid it. You might need to work on some patterns of upbringing and how you, by that, express yourself. Still, there can be breakthroughs in love and creativity, maybe a breakthrough with one of your children. You might also receive the news that you are pregnant, very possible. And by that, you need to increase your responsibility and maturity with the Saturn Mars conjunction in the fourth house. That is also very possible. This all can be very positive as well, you guys. It can also bring moments of happiness and inspiration and expected emotional breakthroughs. Can reminding you about the things when you were little that felt very good as well. So your foundation is being reworked, and at the same time your heart in the fifth is being activated. So do not lose yourself in the heaviness. There is light, there is joy available to you, and that is very important to nurture that right now. So good luck, Capricorn. We have Aquarius and Moon rising. You're going to have the Aries stellium activating your third house. It's making a sextile towards your sun, moon, or rising, which is positive. The third, it is about your mind, your communication, your daily life. It's also like your schedule, your email, your phone calls, technological devices, being on the road, hiking, biking, interactions with people in your local environment, like your neighbors, like your siblings. So Mars, Mercury, Saturn, all conjunct here. It's going to be very busy, very fast, very loud, very full, action-packed schedule, a lot of phone calls, a lot of DMs that you need to answer. Be careful not to overburden your mind. Yeah, you're gonna have to like do something like this. There's gonna be something to do constantly, something to respond to, something to be, something to go, something to answer, and like, can get a lot. Your motivation can be very high with Mars here, but it can turn into like mental overload pretty fast. Mercury, Mars here, and also Saturn, be very careful about what you say. You're going to have a very sharp tongue. You're going to be even more rebelliousness than you already are, my dear Aquarius, but that is why I love you. But still, Mars in the third, your words can be like bombs. Be careful. There is a very big push-pull energy. One moment you're productive and on top of everything, and the next moment you feel overwhelmed and mentally drained. And communication is such a huge theme here. Your words carry so much force, and you might accidentally say some things that might come across as very intense, very direct, and more confrontational than other people are used to you. Mercury, it's how you say certain things. Can be about misunderstandings also. There can be a very important conversation with your brothers, sisters, or neighbors. And of course, Mercury, it rules over your 8th and also your 5th. Maybe some intense conversations with children about even finances, or maybe even talking about like finances with your partner and how you're going to provide for the children, and all of that is also possible. But it can be like, how are we going to fix this? So down before you speak, especially if you're frustrated, but a very powerful time for using your voice intentionally. Do some mantras. You're gonna need to speak through the blockages, and you have the power to do that right now. Just make sure it's coming from like a grounded place and not from a reactive one whenever you have these conversations or do these mantras. And if you then look at Venus, Moon, Uranus, all in your fourth house, it's an exalted moon in Taurus, but it's at a very critical end degree of Taurus. It's at 29 degrees. There can be like some shifts within your home, within your emotional world. Uranus is your chart ruler, you guys. So having that energy combined, that is going to be massive for you. And you really need to let me know what happens. But there can definitely be sudden situations or changes within your living situation and an emotional breakthrough. And the world feels so busy and mentally stimulating. Your inner world from the fourth is actually asking you to be more calm, be more grounded, to focus on security, even though you're going to feel like that is missing. Calm down the nervous system. You guys are going through a lot with your ruler at the end degrees. Do not let like the noise of everything that you have to do really disconnect you from what actually makes you feel safe at home within yourself. So retreat a little bit from the noise, study something new, do a road trip. Be careful on the road. If you're pissed off, do not drive your car. Mars in the third can give road rage as well. With Saturn, be a bit more careful and be very also respectful to all the elder people. Otherwise, that could backlash rather intensely. Saturn is also like government on the road, police, speeding, all of that. Be like a little bit careful. Good luck, Aquarius. Pisces, Sun, Moon, or Rising. You're gonna have the Aries stellium activating your fourth house. No, your second house. So the second, it is all about like your money, your resources, your self-worth, what you truly value. Mars is very strong in its home sign. Your ruler, Neptune, is also there. Be mindful around the 12th, 13th, 14th, as Mars will conjunct your chart ruler, Neptune. There can be some confusion around finances, but here we're looking at the 19th. So it's what you truly value. Mars, yeah, combined with Saturn, Mercury, it brings a very intense focus on getting your life in order. Financially, energetically, you need to feel like you need to take control over your budget, and you might need to restructurize some things within your budget. Also, there is a very strong focus on having to reorganize and figure out a lot of things where you stand, and it can be overwhelming. There might be extra expenses, financial decisions, moments where you feel like you need to prove your value, moments where you feel you're gonna doubt yourself. Mars can really sever ties with certain streams of income, certain unexpected expenses. Mars might break certain things, but the positive here is that you can really take on or receive or apply for a new stream of income that is going to prove to be of great stability, but it's going to take a lot of hard work. So there is really like, do not try to prove yourself. If people, because Saturn is Lord of your 11th house of friendships, if friendships give you the feeling or the pressure that you need to prove yourself, that might be not the right people, unless you have been really slacking and they are actually loving you and they're saying like, get your lazy ass off the couch, then that is something else. But I do not really think that. I really think that you're going to like in some kind of confrontation where certain people could have a draining effect also on your finances. There can even be fights over money with your friends. Do not lend or borrow any money. That could prove to be of difficulties, because 7 degrees is like a Libra degree. It's relationships. Now that is your 8th house. Intensity around money, finances. Saturn rules over the 11th of friendships. Mars is at home in its own sign. Conjunct Mercury, conversations. Mercury rules over the 7th house of partnerships. And also the fourth house of home. Definitely, there's gonna be some expenses that you're gonna need to make either for your home, or maybe your partner is asking you to step up in some kind of way. Maybe he wants you to work more. Something in those regards is also a possibility. But it's actually also a test of your self-worth, and if what you're doing to earn money is actually sustainable for you. The decisions now about money, it's not just about that. They also like reflect what you believe you deserve, and also what you're building for the future. With Saturn ruling over the 11th, it's also like future investments. With Mercury, you're analyzing, you're calculating, you're trying to figure some things out in regard to your finances, but you might be lacking a bit of clarity as long as it's still like an orb of Neptune. So yeah, not a time for impulsive decisions in regards to finances. Do not quit something abruptly. Do not make a very big financial move before thinking through the consequences. Otherwise, you might end up in like a difficult 2-year cycle. Create, plan, structurize, wait, have patience, get clear on your financial priorities. Decide what is actually worth your time, your energy. And we then look also at Venus, Moon, Uranus. That is in your third house. The Moon is exalted, Venus is at home, Uranus is not really liking to be there. It's at a critical degree. It brings a very big mindset shift. Third house is about communication, how you think. There can be sudden new insights, new ideas for money, even conversations that change things, how you see and look at the structure of your finances, or how finances impact your self-worth. You might need to learn something new, study something in the third house. Yeah, your material world in the second is actually asking for more structure and discipline. And then at the same time, your mental world is actually open up to like new and exciting ways. So there might be breakthroughs in how you earn money. So align with your thoughts, or align your thoughts with your values, and believe that is possible, because what you believe is possible is definitely going to shape what you're going to actually be building. So let me know how that plays out for you, my dear Pisces, and I wish you good luck. All right, that was it for today. Thank you guys all so much for joining me here. Of course, I will be looking at the new moon in Aries as well. Maybe I'm gonna make a whole other video about Saturn, Mars together, more of like a collective video, and how that's gonna play out in the world stage. Maybe we can look at some previous cycles. If I have the time to do that, I will definitely also be sharing that with you guys. Other than that, I've just did the Beyond Harmony show with Elena. You can definitely check that out on my channel as well. We will be talking a little bit more about Mars at home. So it's actually like beautiful, like continuation of this video, but Elena will also be doing an activation and a meditation to really work and tap into the energy of Mars and Aries. So I'm really looking forward to be sharing that with you guys as well. So thank you guys all so much, and I will see you back soon. Bye bye.